Welcome to opening night, coming to you from the Captain's Lounge Studios. Today we're going to be talking about A 30s Affair, written by Carl L. Williams and actually performed at the Windsor Community Playhouse. I have got two of the cast members and one of the brilliant directors with us here today. Natalie, why don't you give a brief introduction and introduce your cast members?
All right, thank you so much, Nigel. My name's Natalie Wilson, and I'm co-directing the show. And it's kind of an interesting story how I got involved in it. I had auditioned for it and wasn't able to make one of the nights and asked if they needed an assistant director, and before you knew it, I was co-directing it with Ann Pratt, and it's been a wonderful experience.
You've got a promotion.
I did. And
Wow.
it's the pay was doubled.
Excellent.
Yes, zero.
I love it. I love it when
Double zero
community
is-
theatre doubles your pay.
It's fantastic, yes.
Yes, it really is good.
But it's been fantastic. I've been doing theater probably since I was about 5, and mostly on stage. Done a lot of directing as a school teacher. I'm a music teacher. I do a lot of directing with children, and done a lot of community theater with children, and thought I'd like to see what it's like directing adults. And
You can tell by
it's about the same thing.
Yep, you can tell by my grey hair that I also did a lot of theatre with children.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Why don't you introduce your cast members?
I would love to. Okay, so on my left here we have Don Reedy, and he is playing Jason Drake. And then on my other left, same left, we have Kevin Nolan, and he's playing the part of Daniel Shepard.
Excellent.
Yep.
Kevin,
Yeah.
why don't you give us a bit of a brief synopsis here of the show? Something, but don't give too much away.
Okay. It's a play in Windsor. No, we'll give a little bit more away. It's a very interesting take in among 3 or 4 different couples who are trying to decide who's dating who in a certain way. I play a character who is divorced, who has gone around the world and found himself, much like the Beatles going to India in the 60s. I come back very similar, very pontificating and full of myself, and I've found almost nirvana, and I've decided I want to get back with my ex.
But could you play the sitar?
I could. Did you sitar or satyr, did you say?
I did say
Sure.
sitar.
That's okay.
Yes.
Well, but I could work on the banjo if you'd like. But it's an interesting story. I come back and I find out that my ex is starting to perhaps begin an affair with somebody else in the cast, and I want to see if I can still win her back. And then I turn it over to Don, because he ends up being my rival.
We are rivals, aren't we?
Yes, indeed we are.
Try and keep the bloodshed to a minimum.
Well, we had to sign the waiver, so
Yeah.
we
Oh,
couldn't.
okay.
Right.
That's
Left our
good.
weapons at
Yeah.
home.
So, your take on the show?
So I play Jason Drake, and he is kind of afraid of love, but he's met this woman who we have some very similar interests, and it so happens we kind of fall in love, but we're still kind of resisting each other. And so then the rival comes back into the picture, and it gets very interesting from there.
Excellent. And I believe also you have a fascination in this show.
Yeah, so we are definitely fascinated about movies from the 30s, and so we share quite a love for them. And we will discuss a lot of lines from old movies.
Excellent.
Breaking
Excellent.
a song here and there.
Are we talking here of pure drama, or is this a comedy, or is this a musical?
That is a good question.
Romantic comedy, I would say,
Yeah.
for the
Very-
most part.
Yeah.
Romantic comedy?
A little song breaks out now and then, occasionally on
there.
key.
But that's not imperative, is it?
No.
No.
Firstly, I don't have to sing, so that takes it up a level or two. But yeah, it's very, very witty dialogue. A lot
It's
of
very
really
funny.
good lines. In fact, they say zippy one-liners. I'm not sure if it's zippy, but they're very tantalizing, I would say. And and just about every character has a lot of good lines and just good wordplay in this particular
Absolutely.
play.
Very intelligent dialogue, and like you said, very witty. Hard, and I've seen it multiple times, obviously,
Yes.
and every single time I'm laughing. It's hard not to laugh.
So you're actually able to give them clues of when the audience will laugh.
Yes, and I'll
That
need
is
to
a good thing.
probably tone it down a little bit opening
Yeah.
night, but maybe not. Maybe I'll be the plant, but
Yeah.
I don't
Always
think we'll
a
need
plan.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
because the show itself is just you can't go and watch it without laughing. It's
no.
just it's too it relates too
It
much.
sounds
to
like the
people.
kind of show where you sit down and after 5 minutes you're in love with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I think,
you really get engrossed in these characters. I think
really
they start
do.
to win you over, and especially there's a character named Henry, who's the husband of the married couple, and he's always got room for some really good zingers. He always gets one in, and played by Monty Savage, I've acted with Monty a number of times. Very good sense of humor, and he gets a lot of the good lines and a lot of the lines that they leave you with before the end of a scene. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Natalie, you're co-directing. Who is your other director?
Anne Pratt, and she's been with Windsor since the very beginning.
Yep,
with
she's one of the
Playhouse.
founders of Windsor Community Playhouse.
And how long have they been in operation?
Oh,
Do you
dear.
know?
1981, I
Yeah.
thought, is when they said it was founded.
Yeah,
Which
she-
Wow, quite
Yeah.
some time then.
yes.
yes, it was. Yeah,
Quite some time then.
and you're co-directors and co-dependent, if I recall. So just double check. Can't see one
Yes.
without the other. Sometimes,
You
but,
can't,
yeah,
no, absolutely.
So we don't obviously want to give too much away about the show. It's running. It opens on May 24th. Is it every weekend? I mean, what time do the doors open, etc., etc.? Give people a clue
Okay.
on where they should go.
Okay, well, you could start going to the Windsor Community Playhouse website, and you can get information on there. The 24th, we'll do a show on the 24th and the 25th. And
Curtain is at 7.
Curtain will be at 7. It's not assigned seating, so the earlier you get there, the better.
So curtain is at 7 o'clock.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I would get
Okay.
there around 6:15. The house opens at 6:30.
We'll be there at about 7:15. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight out of the bar.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
the way to
Yeah.
run a comedy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the following weekend, we're going to add a matinee on Sunday.
Excellent.
And so that'll be at 2:30, I believe so.
I think it's 2.
Oh, it's at 2. And then the following weekend after that, we'll just have a Friday and Saturday show.
Okay, so that's a nice series of shows you're
Yeah,
doing.
Yeah.
it's 3 weekends.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
7 shows.
yes,
Yeah.
Makes it all
Indeed.
worthwhile,
Good
doesn't it? When you get a
Absolutely.
nice run.
Absolutely. Yep.
That really is good. So we don't want to give too much away about the show itself,
Yep.
okay? And I think you've now piqued people's interest in the show. But
We hope so.
let's ask a more general question. What got you into acting in the first place, and what got you into directing? Because I know you're also an actress.
Yeah, well, I've done most of my time, like I said, on the stage, and I've been in mostly musicals, some straight plays, and I actually have been wanting to work with Windsor for quite some time, and I just haven't been able to audition for, I was in another show, or the time didn't work, and I saw they had auditions for a 30s Affair, and I found a little snippet of the show, and that's what prompted me to audition for it, because it just was so funny. So that's what kind of led me to Windsor. But what got me into acting, I mean, my first stage debut, as you'd call it, was when I was 5 in the Stars of Tomorrow show, and my mom said I was basically singing once, singing before I could speak, basically, and
Right.
and just always something I've been really interested in, and I love to do it, and I love the other aspect of directing, and I write some shows as well, and I might even be using one of the shows I've written. I might be directing later down the road at Windsor, which would be wonderful. But working with kids, I've done some directing with them, and some of the shows that I've written. As a music teacher, I do a lot of writing, the shows, and I did it in a regular classroom when I was, taught 4th grade as well. And I've just really loved being able to sit back and just see what can happen with a show. And so when I couldn't do this, I thought, I've really loved directing kids, and I would love to try to direct adults. And you don't usually get the chance just to jump into a theater and, I'd like to direct.
From all the directing I've done, there is no difference.
Yeah, well,
With just adult children.
Yeah,
Bigger diapers.
yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
only difference,
Yeah.
really.
There's a little more swearing with the children.
Yeah.
No,
I was just thinking that.
but yeah, it is really fun. We do have a good time, and this is a really nice group of people, and it's a smaller cast, and so we're really able to get to know each other quite well.
When a cast bonds together, the show goes up 3-4 levels, all on its
Totally
own.
agree. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
And a lot of us have worked together a lot.
Yes,
so.
we have. Yeah.
That's good. Don, what got you into acting?
Oh, let's see. I've always been the center of attention, being a redhead, I always stood out. Well, back in the day, we can go back and look at pictures. My first show was Oklahoma. I played Curly when I was a wee little lad, and that's back when I had hair. Again. Stay out of this, Ralph. And so just during the years, I fell in love with making people laugh. So I always was around theater. I never really acted. I was more a set person or whatever. And then I met they're one of the original owners of La Di Da Performing Arts in Fort Collins, and we became best friends. And he kind of like pointed his finger and said, "You're doing this show," and I'm like, "Okay." So I never really had to audition for things, and then now it just took over. I really like being on stage and entertaining people. So I do it all day during work, and then at night I get to do it to make other people money for it. So
That's nice.
yeah.
That's nice. Kevin, what got you into acting?
I was raised Catholic, so I've been acting for quite a while.
You're not kidding.
For me, it was about 2013. My kids were starting to get a little bit older. We were done with Scouts and Little League and stuff, so my evenings were starting to free up. And my daughter she was taking a class in junior high on improv and really liked it. And she was fairly introverted. And there's the play that Don referenced, that by Nick Turner and Troy Shue. They had turned A Christmas Carol into a musical Christmas Carol, which would have a lot of kids and some adults. So I was trying to convince my daughter, let's go do A Christmas Carol together, because she was a little nervous. Let's go do a play together, and I'll get out of your way. And the day of the audition showed up, and she was like, "I'm not going, Dad." It's like, okay. And so I went and I walked through the doors not knowing a soul. And again, bumped into Nick Turner and Troy, who were the ones who did this play. And they were very welcoming and very gracious and reinvented the role of Fezziwig for me. And that's how I started getting in. And just the camaraderie that goes with just being in a show. You start to form those friendships. And the La Di Da that Don referred to, the acting center in Fort Collins, a lot of the same people kept coming through there. And I just like being on stage. That's why I was always in detention in Catholic school, because I liked saying witty lines and getting a laugh and things like that.
And getting wrapped over the knuckles with the rulers.
Yeah, knuckles, and I've still got half an ear left. So, but yeah, I enjoy being on stage. I like entertaining folks, and I don't know about as Don and even Natalie as actors. Once I get into the play, I just become so engrossed in the play. I know the audience is there, but I'm just now engrossed in just what's going on stage. And I love that connection between myself and the other actors, and how it changes sometimes from night to night, how a certain item is said, or who laughed when, and being on your toes enough to catch when it may be changing that way and adjusting your style. So, I find it.
I've always found it interesting when you do a comedy where one night you'll get an audience laugh at one line, and then the next night, that line just flies, and they'll laugh at something different. And it's really and also there's a difference between a Friday night and a Saturday night.
Or a Sunday matinee.
Or a matinee.
Or a matinee. Well, matinees, they all fall asleep, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
And in those scenarios, sometimes I wonder, I got the laugh last night, and this line, do I say it differently, thinking I'm going to get the laugh again, and do I kind of almost inadvertently tinker with the line, anticipating I'm going to get a laugh? So I find myself sometimes being careful about following into that trap and not be anticipating the laugh too soon, and just say it the way that I've said it before, and at least Don will laugh.
We saw that.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank you all for coming down to the Captain's Lounge to do this brief interview. It's been a pleasure having you here, and I can tell it's going to be a good show just by the energy that you guys are showing, because you are so into this show. And you can always tell whether the cast is into a show or they're just doing it because they like acting.
Right.
Yeah.
And it makes a difference to the show. And obviously, as I said earlier, when a cast gels, it just goes up 3, 4, 5 levels all on its own.
Absolutely.
Because everyone's out there having fun and enjoying it, and that's what counts. Natalie, why don't you give us a quick word on why should people come and see this show in Windsor, and where the intercourse is Windsor?
Well, Windsor is just a hop, skip, and a jump away from wherever you are.
Right.
It's not too far on your way to Greeley. It's kind of north
of Greeley.
Yeah.
East of Fort Collins.
East of Fort Collins, yeah.
So, east of Eden.
Used to be,
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah.
yes. So it's not too far. From Longmont, it's about a 35-minute, 40-minute drive. So it's not too
fairly,
terrible.
it's
Yeah.
easy to find.
But you should go see it because it is so dang funny that it's one of those times you go and just like why people watch movies, you watch movies and entertain yourselves to get away from your life. And what's nice about this is it connects to your life enough to, and all the time it does, I really think it connects to so many people that you just find yourself just immersed in it and you're just laughing. And it's a feel-good show. It also shows characters changing throughout. It has some really great, the development of the characters is really solid, I think. And the script itself is just so witty. And of course, it is directed by, amazing directors. And the cast is top notch.
Absolutely.
So
It is a very, very, very good cast. And it's a funny show. And it's one of those things that you just got to go and check it out.
Check it out.
Yeah.
Good. Once again, thank you
Good.
so much for coming down here
Thank you,
today
Nigel.
to talk about the show. I wish you all the success
Thank you.
on, when was it? May
That's
24th.
That's when we open.
Yep.
Let's reiterate that. May 24th, the Windsor Community Playhouse. Go along and see this show. You are not going to be disappointed. Once again, thank you very much for watching Opening Night, coming to you from the Captain's Lounge Studios. I'm Nigel Aves, your host, signing off. Thank you.